Hi, this is my New Testament final project, and I chose to do a video devotional. For my Bible verse, I chose Hebrews 12:4 through 13, which reads, "In your struggle against sin, you have not yet resisted to the point of shedding your blood. And have you completely forgotten this word of encouragement that addresses you as a father addresses his son? It says, 'My son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline, and do not lose heart when he rebukes you. Because the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and he chastens everyone he accepts as his son.' Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what children are not disciplined by their father? If you are not disciplined, and everyone undergoes discipline, then you are not legitimate, not true sons and daughters at all. Moreover, we have all had human fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of spirits and live? They disciplined us for a while, as they thought best. But God disciplines us for our good, in order that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Therefore, strengthen your feeble arms and weak knees. Make level paths for your feet, so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed." For my historical interpretation of this passage, the author of Hebrews is unknown, and most scholars agree that it wasn't written by Paul, which was commonly agreed on for a while. The author of Hebrews was a Hellenistic Jew. The audience was persecuted, which is important to understand the context. The audience was also near apostasy, which means close to abandoning their religion. The persecution that the audience was in is key to having a good understanding of this passage. This passage does not only apply to a persecuted audience, but many times throughout history have Christians been persecuted. For the cultural context, the book is meant to urge people to stay faithful to Jesus, even in rough times. The book of Hebrews is meant to challenge and strengthen the faith of Christians. In the sense of giving advice, it is emphasized what not to do in this passage, which is a commonly used device in the Bible, and it is repeated to strengthen the message, as talked about in the introduction to Hebrew poetry. In his famous article on the Hellenistic sermon, Lawrence Wills determines the discussion of divine paideia to include 12:4 through 16, and he believes that these verses constitute one of several cyclic words of exhortation found in Hebrews. Exhortation, meaning communicating and urging someone to do something, perfectly describes the tone of Hebrews as said by Maxey in this article. In light of the whole Bible, this verse builds on the heroes of the faith from chapter 11, Hebrews, and the main message, in my opinion, is that even in times of hardship, to hold your faith in God and everything will work out. I think this message ties in really well with the story of Abraham and the night of infinite resignation versus the night of faith. Abraham was a knight of faith in his actions. For those of you who don't know, Abraham was told by God to murder his son, and he was following through without hesitation because he believed that God had a plan for him and wasn't nervous that everything would work out. This is how a knight of faith acts. A knight of infinite resignation, on the other hand, would still be committed enough to God to follow through with his orders, but he would hesitate in doing so, and he wouldn't believe that God was going to send the angel down and save Abraham's son and have him sacrifice the black sheep instead. For my contemporary application, I think the way that people should compare this to situations in their life is when going through hard times. This passage can be used to keep your head up and remember that as long as you keep your faith strong, God has a plan for you, and it'll all work out in the end. Personally, as an athlete, this passage specifically applies to sticking to the process, which I take as long as you keep working hard and never let up, things will work out for you, even if you don't see immediate results. And it's hard to stay faithful and stick to the process when you're not seeing results that you had hoped for. Being a pitcher myself, a common injury is something called Tommy John surgery. This surgery must occur when you tear your ulnar ligament in your elbow. The minimum recovery time for this injury is 9 months, but for many pitchers it takes much longer to get back on the mound. It can seem devastating at first, not being able to play the sport you love for nearly a year, and it can happen at any time without warning, and many people get really down. Applying this passage to this situation can help pitchers stay confident in their recovery and have peace of mind during it. The icing on the cake is that when done correctly, you can come back a much better pitcher after this long recovery. And this is a great example of God having a bigger plan for people. You went through a hard time and you came back better out of it. I think this can be applied to life with your faith. As long as you stick to it and never let up, even in the worst of times, things are going to work out for you. There is much more to life than sports, but I believe that sports can teach you good lessons like this that you can apply to your life now and later, which will lead to happiness and success. The message from God that I hope people get when they read this passage is to never give up, and things will all work out in the end. And to be who you are, stick to your morals, and never change that, and you'll live a happy and fulfilling life. I like how this is said in the IVP New Testament Commentary series. Don't forget, behind the difficulties you must go through is a Father's loving heart. And this is a good reminder that God wants what's best for you. And even though he's gonna send challenges and trials and tough times your way, it's all out of love. And he has a plan for you to be happy in the end and to be successful and to live the life that you've always wanted, as long as you stick strong to your faith and always have faith in him and what he can do for you. This is my works cited, and thank you for watching.